Okay. Alrighty. What is happening, people? How you doing?
All
How you
right,
doing?
all right,
Hopefully
all
you've had a
right.
fantastic Monday and you are ready for Monday Night Football. And what should be a good matchup, Vikings Niners. Hopefully it's not a blowout. I think we're
Hopefully
just
not.
hoping for some good football that involves a lot of fantasy points, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. We need fantasy points.
yeah. What do you
We
need
need it all.
tonight to win your
I
league?
need to score a lot of points.
Yeah.
Unrealistic, obviously,
Yep.
but I actually tell you exactly what I need. Well, that's way too much. 20, 40 points.
Right. So probably not gonna
GG's.
happen,
Oh,
but
I mean,
it's
40. I
possible.
mean, if Jake Moody, I have Jake Moody as well. So I mean, if Jake
Okay,
Moody can
yeah.
give me 10, and then you can give me a modest like 20 points. I'm okay with that. I feel like that is maybe
Possible.
somewhat doable, but like
Plausible. Maybe not probable, but plausible.
I don't see it really happening. If Deshaun Watson and shit the bed.
Yeah, that was rough. Shout out to Deshaun. He looks so bad. Um, hey guys, do us a favor. Go ahead and drop a like on the stream as you're joining the channel. We love you. We appreciate y'all. It's been
Hmm.
cool to see the growth this year. So do us a favor. Show some support. Hit that like button. We are answering your questions all the way up until kickoff, and then we will log off. The first one that I can see myself is from Patrick Mahomey. He
How you doing,
says,
brother?
"Hey guys, keep two: Henderson, Singletary, and Jeff Wilson Jr." Um,
You keep Henderson and Singletary.
yeah, where do you
Uh,
stand
I,
with Jeff? I know we had different expectations coming in. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is what we'll see, or
I
what do you think?
just he always only had 14 percent of the snaps. I
Yeah,
think they're going to utilize him more. Personally, I think we saw that the run game was a problem this past week.
sure. Yeah, tough matchup.
Um, Tough matchup, and I think they were really trying to come in and do something different that they never really done before. But I think he will get more involved. Personally, I think I'm not saying that I want to drop him and not. I don't think he. I guess how can I say this? I'm stumbling on my words. He's not going to be irrelevant the way that we saw this past week, in my opinion.
Sure.
Until Devon comes in or comes back, and then he will probably be irrelevant then.
Yeah,
So
so I mean, kind of delaying the inevitable.
yeah,
Patriots,
exactly.
then the Chiefs, then a bye week. So certainly more questions around him than Henderson Singletary in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Corey,
exactly.
what's up? He says, half PPR. Who to start at flex next week? Drake, McLaurin, Rice, Spears, or Dell? I'm assuming that's Drake London. That's Terry McLaurin. That's Rashee Rice.
Hmm.
It would be between those three, and it is very, very close.
For
Drake
me,
London is going
yeah.
to be boom bust still, unfortunately. For me, I think this is going to be Terry McLaurin. I don't know where you stand. Rashee Rice has a great matchup, but Terry McLaurin has been building some more consistency in that offense. They're featuring him. And last time he played the Philadelphia Eagles, he had his season high 21 PPR points. So very close. Rice is moving into that must start category. Um, but for me, it would be Terry at this moment.
Yeah, I think Terry does have the better matchup coming into this week. Or sorry, going into next week, Eagles give the third most fancy points to the wide receiver position. So I would say Terry as well, but Drake London very very close. He's been more consistent. Since week 4 onwards, scoring over 11 fantasy points per game essentially.
Sure.
Don't know what that is exactly, but I'll take Terry with you. But Drake London, I think that can easily switch as the week goes on.
Jimmy T says JSN or Drake London for Dynasty. This has been JSN for me since we did the pre-draft process, and it remains JSN for me.
Yeah,
I have tried
yeah,
not
I
to
agree.
overreact to the slow start for JSN. Love the talent, love the prospect, and I think long term I'm still obsessed with him. It would be JSN over Drake for me. I don't know where you stand.
Yeah, no question. No
Okay.
question, Jackson Smith.
All right, love to hear that. We do have a super chat from Sam, so let's get to that straight away. Sam,
Thank you so much, man.
drop the donation. There's a question above, so we'll get to that here. Sam says, I have Kyron Williams, Pollard, Myers, Achan as my main guys. I'm 4-2. Do you think I should trade Achan or Kyron or just hold on for them to come back? in my personal opinion, Achane specifically, I would not be looking at trading at this point. We're already, what is this, 2 weeks, right, into his his probable 4-week absence,
he should
4-game absence.
Yeah, he should be coming back by week 11.
Yeah,
it looks like, against the Raiders.
Yeah, so he'll be back week 11 versus the Raiders. He'll be good to go, and I expect him to be, a top 10 play rest of the year after that point. I mean, guys, he really only started 3 games, and he's the RB9 on the year. Absolutely mental. And then as far as Kyren goes, I'm willing to move on, but it depends on what I could get in return. Like, could I get a Josh Jacobs? I would do that. Could I get a Swift? I'd be willing to do that. Could I get maybe not Jonathan Taylor anymore? It's probably too late to try and go and get that deal done. But could you get a Bijan off of, a rough week? Obviously, probably not. Could you get a Tony Pollard? I'm not sure, but outside of those names, I think you're better off holding with how good your record is and how many points he's scored consistently when he's been healthy. So,
yeah, I would definitely agree. I think someone asked a similar question. You definitely want to get rid of Kyren if I had to get rid of anyone because he just went on IR recently.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Sam.
Yep. Patrick Mahomes, next question here in order. He says, I dropped the Eagles defense for the Chiefs because the matchup, and now Bolton is hurt and the Eagles got Kevin Byard. Hopefully I can get them back on waivers. This sucks. I hear you. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Look, defenses are so up. They're so down. It's genuinely unpredictable. Yeah. I mean, guys, think about it. The Cleveland Browns, right, were a great defense yesterday, and we loved them. And they gave up 38 points in that game. So everything is unpredictable at that position.
Yeah, it is very, very. I think they had their worst game. Yeah. As well. I mean, they gave up 400 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the best game for them. So any week, anything can happen. So don't overthink it when it comes down to defenses. Personally.
Yeah.
Dark Star. I drafted Buffalo's D, but they've done little since that 31 point week. They lost some plays in the injury. I'm better off streaming defenses. I mean, I think so. In the 10-man league, I'm pretty sure there are some better defenses that you can stream without a doubt. There, Dark Star. Just all depends on
on the matchup. Keep in mind they have the Bucks this week, and they have the Broncos and the Jets in the next 4 weeks as well. So that's a good defense to keep in right now. But as we always approach the defense position, it's streaming. It's always streaming. Never prioritize them in drafts, and never prioritize them in trades. It's always streams. Mr. Green says AJ Brown and Pacheco for Keenan Allen and Pollard. That is quite close. I think, man, that is close.
I think how consistent AJ Brown has been this. I think it's an even trade. I think it depends on who you prefer. Which offense do you prefer? Would you rather have Pacheco, who's also been very consistent? RB8 on the season, scored. I mean, he hasn't scored less than 10 fantasy points since week 3.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard has been a little bit more inconsistent on the better. Wouldn't say the better offense. Do you get what I'm saying? I think
Pollard's already had his bye week. To me, it's like, do I need running back help? Then I'll go with the Pollard side because I still prefer Pollard over Pacheco long term. However, I would say in general, I believe the AJ Brown and Pacheco side has more value overall.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bigger difference personally, but it just all depends on what you like there, Mr. Green. If Ayuk has a good game this week, would y'all try and swap him with Davante Adams and PPR? I think that's an even trade. I think Ayuk and Davante Adams are both kind of very similar in my rankings.
I'd rather have Adams. It is close. Depends. I hear what you're saying. I just think that we will see games where Ayuk is inconsistent when that entire group is healthy. It's not right now. So you feel absolutely incredible about having Ayuk, for the next 3 or 4 weeks. But there will be games where he's inconsistent, as every player is. But I still prefer Adams myself. And we know how good Adams has been with Jimmy G. And Jimmy G's back next week. We know the Brian Hoyer experiment is over. So it's close. It is very close. I prefer Adams slightly though.
Yeah, I understand. Jimmy T, start Calvin Ridley or JSN?
It's a good
We're
question.
getting to that point. We're getting to that point already. I mean,
Yeah.
JSN has a tougher matchup coming into this week. I'm not saying it's a one-off game. I'm saying now we need to see how they're going to integrate him when DK's back.
Yes.
I do believe he's going to continue to rise in his production. I do believe he's going to be better long term, but you have to understand the context. DK didn't play, and also, what does that look like when he's back? Does he go back to, these? I don't know what he was averaging before DK. I think he was averaging about 5 to 8 points a game.
We know DK was healthy the week after their bye in week 6, and Jason had 72% of the snaps that week. This week versus the Cardinals, he only played 63. So he actually didn't play much in 2 wide receiver sets. It was Jake Bobo over him in 2 wide receiver sets for the most part. So that kind of seems like we're seeing his role. I could be reading it incorrectly, but I think we're seeing his role now. What I will say is we've talked a lot about Calvin Ridley. I don't think it's his fault that he's not scoring fantasy points. We've talked about that. He is doing his job. He's getting open, just not many opportunities, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What I will say is this could easily be a week where Calvin Ridley has a great game on people's benches. He plays the Steelers. It is the second best matchup for wide receivers in fantasy. Yep. And there's not... Joey Porter Jr. is a great corner. He's a rookie, but there's not really a guy over there, definitely not Patrick Peterson, that I'm overly nervous about. Where to the point, like a Marcus Lattimore, where you game plan a wide receiver out, right? So
I hear you.
I would go Calvin Ridley here. It's very close, but I am significantly lowering Calvin in my rankings this week. Like, he's in my mid 30s. So I'm not being unrealistic. I'm not being, biased. I think there is a game here soon, and it could be this week where he goes off. But for JSN, you're right. Look, we don't know what that offense looks like with Metcalf and all those guys, and after the bye week, and now getting JSN involved, and now Bobo having a role. So it's close. I'm going Calvin, but it is very close. You're right.
Yeah, it is very, very close. AJ Starr, I'm thinking of offering Keenan Allen for Monty and Mixon. How do you feeling about this trade? It sounds like you may be struggling at the running back position. I think it's a plus that Monty had his Mixon, had his bye week. But how much more longer is Monty going to be out for? He also, I don't know. I don't know if I would do this, if I'm going to be doing that. I think I at least want somebody that's healthy. If you're really trying to win right now, I'm not saying it's a bad trade.
If Monty's healthy, you probably can't get that deal done in a league where you need quarterbacks or running backs. Excuse me, right?
Running backs. I understand.
It's a tough one to sit there. What I will say is, I was actually wondering, instead of Mixon, unless you just have like so many wide receivers, you don't need them at all, and you only exclusively need running back. Like, is there a wide receiver equivalent to Mixon that you could grab back instead? That would be interesting, like a Josh Downs or, maybe a Calvin Ridley or, a wide receiver like in that vein, a JSN, an Addison.
Right.
So, yeah. The next one is from Carlos. He says, do y'all think McCaffrey is going to have a snap count or any type of limited activity? I wouldn't be surprised if he does. We don't have any reports to tell us that yet, and I think we'll find out in the next 30 minutes or so. What I will say is it doesn't matter. Even if he plays 50% of the snaps, he's probably a top 10 running back this week.
Completely agree.
Yeah, because when he's out there, he's going to get the opportunities, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, over 40 people watching the stream. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We'll be live all the way up until Monday Night Football kickoff. Can you do us a simple favor? Just hit that like button for us. It's a very simple way for you to help this channel grow. Y'all have been helping us grow a lot this season. It's been awesome, and it's because of your love, your support, your comments, your likes, your subscribes. So go ahead and do us a favor. Smash that like button for us. Help us get to that 30 like mark, at least, with the amount of people here. And we're going to answer your questions in order. Super chats do get priority. But the next question in order is from AS. He says, trade Amari for either Ridley or Deontay. Trade Amari for Ridley or Deontay. And maybe I'm just ignorant. Maybe this is ignorance. I still want Amari Cooper here. I still want Amari Cooper.
Agreed.
I am not in the camp that, Amari Cooper is just a bad play now. In fact, looking at my rankings this week, Amari Cooper is my wide receiver 19 heading into the week. He's clearly the number one there. And we'll see if Deshaun Watson's back or not, but it's also a fantastic matchup versus the Seattle Seahawks. 4 wide receivers. Seattle gives up the 4th most points, so could be a good matchup for him, a good bounce back. And remember, last year we saw a little bit of inconsistency with Amari, right? It was a little bit up, it was a little bit down. But
yeah, and that was with Jacoby as well. So I mean,
yeah, we had games last year where we had 6 points, multiple 6-point games, an 8-point game, a 1-point game, a 4-point game. It was up and down, and eventually he kind of found his form and found his rhythm, and they funneled it all through him. So it's still Amari for me. Where do you sit?
Yeah, it's really close. It would still be Amari for me as well. I think we saw that a PJ can make him relevant, even though it wasn't sexy. Probably one of the tougher defenses against San Francisco. Still got 8 targets this past week as well against Indianapolis. I think that continues.
Yeah.
I think those targets continues. So, especially now with Jerome Ford likely to miss some time, it might result in throwing the ball just a little bit more. We'll wait and see what that looks like. So, yeah, give me Amari Cooper as well, but it is very close, I would say.
Akshay, what's up, my man? He says, start 2 running backs, 1 flex. Bijan, Eckler, Gibbs, Moore, Garrett Wilson, and Pittman. It's still Bijan and Eckler for me. And then in the flex, this is very close between Garrett Wilson. How about Pittman, man? What did I say before this week? What did I say? I said that guy's going to have a terrible first half, and he's going to redeem himself somehow in the second half. I mean, Pittman, if you just look at how these games have panned out, should not be a top 13 wide receiver in fantasy. No. But there's a lot of things in the second half of games this year that have just gone completely his way. That being said, sometimes good players get a little lucky. What I will say is Bijan, Eckler, and then I think you actually have to roll with Gibbs. I think it would be the 3 running backs.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go, because if Monty doesn't play again, I think you play Gibbs again against the Raiders as well coming into this week.
Yeah.
We saw what Deontay Foreman did to the Raiders.
Yeah.
The Raiders give up the 5th most fantasy points to the running back position. So that's where I was going to go. I was going to go the 3 running backs coming into this week. But look, DJ Moore has a great matchup against the Chargers. Garrett Wilson has a great matchup against my Giants. And then Michael Pittman, oddly enough, has a tougher matchup out of all those wide receivers against the Saints. So I guess you have to wait and see. He also said start 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Olave, Flowers, Devonta. Look, I mean,
this is Olave for me and Flowers.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going to go. Olave and Flowers. Devonta Smith has been extremely disappointing. We were hoping something was going to happen this week.
I still think
he's going to get better.
I do.
I still think he will be better. It's just like
it's
3 games under 10 points has been very, very disappointing as well. And he also said your thoughts on Jonathan Taylor. He did well, really good in my opinion, against a really tough run defense. Yep. Over 21 points. Only saw 50% of the snaps as well. Even Zach Moss is clearly going to be involved. Either going to be involved or is just involved in this game plan, or he's still building on that snap percentages. Week 5, 15, week 6, 42, week 7, 50% of snap share. Does that, rise again going into New Orleans? I'm not sure.
I think so. I mean, it's something that we've been talking about this since he agreed to the contract. It's going to slowly but surely make Zach Moss irrelevant. And we are only 3 weeks into him being back, and we're already starting to see that. Eventually there will be a point where Jonathan Taylor is at least 60% to the 40% of Moss. And unless he's LaDainian Tomlinson with that 40%, he's going to end up being, a little bit irrelevant for fantasy unless you're in deeper formats. But yeah, I love Jonathan Taylor the rest of the season.
Yeah, I understand. Eckler and Bijan, don't worry. I think they'll bounce back. Bijan, I think, was a fluke. No one was expecting that.
Yeah.
We were all upset. And
And
Austin Eckler.
the
he
fact
would
that there
definitely
was
be
an
better.
explanation, just quickly on Bijan, the fact that there was an explanation as to why it was happening. Because for a moment there, I think we were all like, Arthur Smith, you son of a bitch. You dumb, dumb man, you know? But the reality was
Yeah.
Bijan was actually injured. Or not injured, but he was unwell to the point where he didn't feel like he could contribute. So it's good to know there was an explanation. But I still view Bijan as a top 5 to 6 running back rest of the year. What about you?
I completely agree.
Okay.
I view both of these guys the same way. The same
Sure.
thing with Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, obviously the Chiefs, really good against the run, a divisional game. He was just kept in check, and that's exactly what you saw. He also got hurt, did come back, so I think they wanted to monitor that as well, just a little bit. But he has an even better matchup next week playing against the Chicago Bears.
He does.
So
Get right.
yeah, it's a get right game. I think he has the Bears and the Jets. Both of those teams give up a lot of points to the running back position. So don't panic as of right now. That's what I would say.
And then we'll talk about Jahmyr Gibbs' outlook rest of the year. I put this out on my Twitter because I know some people will probably be curious. I'm a big Montgomery guy, and I don't think this is a biased approach. You let me know if I'm wrong, Badaki, but basically just saying like very, very happy for Jahmyr Gibbs. I really liked him as a prospect, and I like him as a player. I don't believe, because there's this narrative out there on Twitter, oh, Monty's dead now. This is Jahmyr Gibbs' role. It's his backfield. That's not my opinion. I don't think that's truth. I think when Montgomery's back, he goes right back into the role that he had when they were both healthy. I don't think this changes much of anything. If anything, it just shows you what he can do when he's given that kind of opportunity. But I still think Montgomery's the guy that they want to establish the offense around, bully type of offense. And you could make an argument that for real life NFL football, they missed him. They were not able to establish that kind of like hard-nosed type of run offense that they wanted to. That's not to say that Gibbs wasn't good. He was. But at the same time, you did not have that physicality. The Ravens were not scared of you establishing the run and then allowing the play action to open up over, the back end of the field. So to me, I still think that this offense will remain the same when Montgomery's back. I don't see his role decreasing, but you now see what Gibbs can do with at least, 12, 11, or 12, 13, 14 touches.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I felt like they were really trying to get things going, and they still didn't get things going out. If I'm not mistaken, it's like the fourth quarter. That's when they scored. That's when Gibbs found the end zone. He was still getting those dump off passes throughout the game.
Yeah.
But was at points successful and some points very unsuccessful. So
and it's funny as well, by the way, because we talked about this going in. I was mentioning that I feel like Gibbs is a little bit game script proof, because if they're up, they're running the ball. If they're down, they're going to check it down to him. He has his career high in targets, career high in receiving yards. But you and I would both agree, right, that they're likely not down like this in many games again this year.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, okay, going against Vegas next week, it's a get-right game for everyone.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, Monty, it doesn't play. Jared Goff, the first thing I'm thinking is that this offense is going to start slinging the ball against the Raiders. They want to get Laporta in. They want to get Jameson working. They want to get Amon-Ra going. I feel like they're going to score more passing touchdowns than rushing touchdowns, even when Monty is not going to be there going into next week. That could be completely wrong. Because they were struggling significantly in passing the ball early in this game, and they didn't get really clicking. I think everyone in their fantasy perspectives, all this came in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it came from desperation play from the offense. And, again, we just talked about how we don't expect them to be down much in games. Let me read you their rest of season opponents and tell me how many times you expect them to be down like this in a game. They got the Raiders next week. I don't think they'll be down like that. They got the Chargers in week 10. There's a possibility. After that, the Bears, the Saints, the Bears, the Broncos, the Vikings, Dallas in week 17, and the Vikings in week 18. I would say maybe 2 of their next matchups, there's a possibility they are down like that. But more likely than not, there's probably not another game like that on the calendar for them.
Agreed. So Keep that in mind. Monty's going to come back. I think what they do is that they rest Monty again week 8, and he comes back in week 9.
I think so too.
Or sorry, in week 10. So if you do have Jameer Gibbs, I wonder if this is a sell high opportunity and what that looks like.
Maybe next week is the sell high.
Yeah,
because if you get back-to-back games, it's like, hey, it's not a fluke.
I think it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder
Yeah,
to sell him knowing that he's going to go on a bye.
That's fair.
But we'll wait and see. Hopefully, Joe says I need 19.5 fantasy points from CMC. Am I crazy thinking? No, it could definitely happen. It can definitely happen. Don't overthink it, brother.
Yeah, it could happen. We'll have to wait and see.
I think the next one is Eder. I don't know how you say that. Hopefully I'm saying that right. He said pick up JSN and start him over Deontay Johnson. When I found out about DK not playing, let's go. I mean, that's amazing. That's kind of what we said. If DK was going to be that game time decision and was going to play, JSN was a perfect start coming into this week, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I think Zach did that in multiple.
I did. I have him in so many dynasty leagues, and as soon as I got that notification, I went through and I was like, hell yeah. I mean, I started him over players. I was like, there's no way I should be doing this, but I was like, let's have some fun today.
Yeah, and he didn't disappoint. 16 was it 16 points?
Yeah.
So like, I think he got exactly what you wanted him to do.
He did great.
Right? So I think it's good. I hope so, Craig. I hope you can get 31 points. I mean, up to you, brother. Liam said up by 11 with Mooney left. He has Hawkinson. Good luck, man.
Oh, he has Ayuk and Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good luck.
There's a chance. It needs to be a big Moody game though.
Yeah, I mean, I need Moody and Ayuk to do something, so we'll wait.
I'd say the favors in your opponent's hands, but anything can happen.
I would agree. Patrick Mahoney, depends on tonight's game. I might be looking to upgrade at quarterback. As of right now, who would you rather keep rest of the season, Purdy or Cousins? I think we'll both say Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I know JJ is out, and I think that's a huge part of it personally for me. So give me Brock Purdy, especially when everyone gets healthy.
Agreed. Josh Palmer's a must start. He's definitely getting into that category. Brendan says, would you trade Mike Evans for Devontae Adams? Where do you stand on that? I think the one thing I'll say is, as good as Baker has played, I still think there's a scenario where this all tears down. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And that's concerning. Whereas if Jimmy's healthy, he's a starter in Las Vegas for me. I want Adams is my answer.
Look, I'm not saying I don't want Devontae Adams. I personally think they're both even, in my opinion. I know Mike Evans, wide receiver 16, Devontae Adams, wide receiver 10. Mike Evans, did have his bye week.
Yep.
And he also basically missed a game in week 4 against New Orleans where he went out. But the targets that he's getting is still there. The touchdowns that he's getting, I mean, he scored 4 touchdowns in the last 6 games he's played so far. Those opportunities are there. And obviously you're seeing the struggles with Devontae Adams, not because he can't perform, because of the inconsistencies of quarterback. And I feel like Baker is more consistent quarterback than all 3 quarterbacks Devontae Adams has played with.
When Jimmy's been healthy, though, Adams has been incredible.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
We believe Jimmy's healthy again, so
I would say
it's tough. Look,
Adams has a high upside every single day because, scoring 42 points any given week.
Last thing I'll say is the next 4 matchups for Mike Evans: Buffalo, Houston, which that sounds like a good matchup. It's typically not. Tennessee, which they're no longer a smash matchup. They're fine. Then the Niners. So it's tough, but I'm going Adams. It's close.
Yeah, going Adams. So should I drop Tank Dell for Singletary? I want to keep Tank Dell. I think both of these guys should be rostered. If you're struggling with running back, understand maybe you're deep at wide receiver. Maybe there's some trade value there for Tank Dell coming up. Maybe you're in a 10-man league. If you're in a 10-man league, I'm doing this if I need a running back. I'm pretty sure you'll probably be better running backs that you have out there. But
yeah, it does depend on what you need. I would say who scores the most points rest of the year, Tank Dell does. But there's also a chance that if Singletary comes out this week and he is a 60% back in that backfield, you will have wanted him. If he comes out this week and he only plays 25%, it's like, damn, I dropped Tank Dell, a guy I could have started. There's nuance to it for sure. Brazen, what's up?
Agreed.
Says trade JT and Waddle for Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, and Jalen Waddle for Justin Jefferson. It's a 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, or 2 wide receiver, 3 flex league. My running backs would be Kamara and ETN. Wide receivers, Chase, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra, Tank.
Running backs with Kamara and ATN. So you trade away Jonathan Taylor and Jalen Waddle. Your wide receivers are Chase, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra. I mean, I think the bigger question is what's your record? You're telling me if you're what is it? What can you be now? 7-0, maybe you're 6-1. I think if you're 500 or below 500, I'm not doing it. You know, if I'm 3-3, or yeah, if you're 3-3, I'm not doing that.
The issue comes when if you have an injury, you're screwed at running back.
Yeah, your depth goes
So
away.
if Kamara goes down, if ETN goes down, instantly your team goes from a championship contender to, oh shit, what do I do at RB2? Now I got to trade one of these guys. Now I got to look at the waiver wire. So if you can make that JT and Addison, maybe that's better. But or
NT,
Sutton, but
yeah, like maybe what you can do is,
or can you get back if you send JT and Waddle? Can you get back Justin Jefferson and let me name some names, and Aaron Jones off of a bad week, a Madison, even a Javonte, a Kareem Hunt, just thinking out loud, a Joe Mixon, a James Cook, a Gibbs, Pacheco. Those are some names like that would be more comfortable for me.
Yeah, I understand. I think it just all depends on what your record is for me. So hopefully that helps. Chad says, I'm about to be 5-2. All my players got more than 20 points besides my defense and clicker in Hollywood. Should I try and trade for Bijan or offer Jonathan Taylor and somebody else? Is Bijan bounce back? So should I trade for Bijan and offer Jonathan Taylor and someone else? I think maybe this week you can try and do the straight swap, see what they say in return personally, but I'm happy to send JT and a small person. It's not somebody big.
I'd say after this week, you probably could get that straight up, like you mentioned.
Yeah, you probably could. So, but if that person still wants more, I'm not looking at anyone big. I'm looking at people that I'm picking up off of waiver wires. I'm looking at throwing in a Devin Singletary or throwing in a DeMarcado or throwing in whoever that waiver wire quote unquote pickup is. I don't want a flexible startable asset being traded with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
To acquire Bijan. So that's kind of the thought process. And I think we already alluded that Bijan will have a bounce back. We have no idea. I mean, he says he was affected by an illness, apparent headaches.
But check this out. His next couple weeks, Tennessee next week, not a great matchup. We've seen running backs overcome that. I think he's talented enough to overcome that. You start him. Mm-hmm. But then in week 9 and week 10, the Minnesota Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals. Vikings right now are technically a good defense. I don't think that matters when Bijan touches the field. But for the Cardinals, I mean, that's a smash matchup absolutely for him. But yeah, I'm with you there. Michael says, Dynasty, what picks are you offering Keenan Allen and Aaron Jones owner? He's in last place. I'm in first. I own 2024 first, second, and third. I am still in the camp where I don't believe that Keenan or Aaron Jones are worth a first-round pick in Dynasty. Now, clearly, if you're selling Keenan, you're saying, look at the numbers that he's putting up. How are you going to tell me to sell for less than a first-round pick? He's a wide receiver 6 on the year, and I understand that. I'm also sitting there thinking, the guy's 31. He's had some injury history issues in the last year, not this year. The guy's 31. He'll be 32. It's not very often that you see many wide receivers perform after that. I know what we're seeing Adam Thielen do right now. I'm not willing to part a first-round pick. Because think about it, like, that this year, you and I talked about this, that could have been Zay Flowers in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, could have.
Or Devon Achane. So I am not willing to give up a first, but if I could do multiple seconds for Keenan, I would do it. And as far as Aaron Jones goes,
I just don't think you should. Look,
I would be willing to part with a late second, but more trying to part with a couple thirds if that's possible.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was gonna say. You know, I mean, you technically have the edge trying to get Aaron Jones off that person, essentially because he hasn't performed the way we all expected him to. So I would agree with Keenan Allen. First, it's hard to give up. Give me a second. And clearly, that second is going to be late since you're doing pretty well so far. So
Yeah.
give up a second, see what happens. So I completely
By
agree.
the way, over 60 people watching the stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. Can you do us a favor as we help you answer your questions? All we're asking is you help the channel grow in return. Go ahead, hit that like button for us. Simple way for you to help this channel grow and to help us kind of reach the goals that we want to reach. So do us a favor, smash that like button. Let's get to 50 likes. We're 20 likes away from 50. Can you help us get there? 20 likes away, now 17 likes away from 50. Help us get there. Hit that like button for us.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you
We
so
do
much.
appreciate y'all. Super chats get answered straight away. Otherwise, we're going in order. And the next one in order is from Brazen. I'm going to be 2-5 after this week, but my division is bad, and I'm going to be
There you
tied
go.
for second. First
Good to
place
know.
in my division is 3-4, and he has JJ. Yeah, that's interesting
How's first place 3 and 4?
because they're divisions. So the other division would be just absolutely killing it. Division play is always interesting. It really only works if you have like very close relationships with the people that you're in the division with. But that's interesting. Navin says up by 9 this week with kicker against Kirk Cousins. I have Moody rostered, but is there any chance I would ever pick up Greg Joseph? I mean, if you're asking me going into tonight, who would I rather have? I'd rather have Moody. He's on the
Moody,
better
yeah,
offense. I expect him to score more points.
Then
but-
playing inside the dome. should
But
be
there's always a
better-
chance
good
that Greg
opportunity.
scores more. It's just as of right now, with the information I know, I'd rather have Moody.
Yeah, agreed.
Go ahead, Mr. Green.
Yeah, Mr. Green. So the guys counted me with AJ Brown and Pacheco for Kamara and Keenan
No
Allen.
way.
Yeah,
No.
no, thank you. No, thank you. That's too much already.
Guys, Kamara is like, if you take away his work on the ground, he's probably a top 12 wide receiver since returning.
it is wild. He's RB16, missed 3 games. This is what I was kind of hoping and expecting from a Kamara in this offseason.
Yeah.
But yeah, you keep him. Hopefully that helps. Henry Gibson said, if I'm a lock for the playoffs, should I trade for CD or JJ? I think it depends on what you give up. I think there's an opportunity for you to go get him. I think we always say that. If you are a lock, do it.
Overall, I'd say absolutely yes. I'd be trying to acquire those guys, doing 2-for-1 packages.
Agreed. Lazy Bone says Josh Downs though, yeah, great game. I think this is kind of what I was saying, high upside type of opportunity. Finds the end zone, breaks a big play. He did well.
Yeah.
5 out of 6.
I don't want to take anything away from him,
425.
but if you take away that long touchdown, then it's a very average day. What I will say is
Sure.
I expect more like 10 to 15 point games than I do 20 plus point games.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. And that is the type of quote unquote upside you're hoping for someone in a flex. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what I was saying in my high upside video. So hopefully
It's like Michael
that is
Thomas, but actual upside attached to the player.
yeah, classic MT. Mystic Flames.
He did score a
12-team
touchdown
dynasty.
this week,
Yeah,
to be fair.
this week he did. Yeah. Mystic Flames 12-team Dynasty Superflex Start 11 rebuild. Give JSN an early mid 24 first and a second. Get Bijan. Also, he said taking Addison instead of Jace. He said he'll take Addison instead of JSN. Also, he said he would take Devonta Smith straight up. You know, what do you think about this? Because my thought process about running backs in Dynasty, I'm not trying to give them up.
Yeah, I agree, but
Because
I
of
also
how-
think
because
this
how important they are.
is too much of an ask.
Oh, I agree. Too
Because in this wording, it's early to mid 24 first. I don't see a scenario in which that doesn't just rise in value up to the draft. It is a stacked quarterback class, and you got really good wide receivers.
And that's
so-
why I'm hesitant.
And you're selling JSN at a point where I think his value rises going into next year. compared to what he's currently valued. This is my opinion. Could be wrong. So what I'm interested in is he says also he would take Devonta Smith straight up. Are you telling me that you could give Devonta Smith and get Bijan Robinson straight up?
Right.
Because I would definitely do that. But as far as the JSN in an early to mid 24 first, if you told me that's mid to late, it changes everything for me. I would go grab Bijan. But if that truly ends up being, let's say, the 103, then I think you will have regretted making that move.
Yeah.
It's close, though.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, one of my biggest things coming into this year, going into the Dynasty season in 2024, is, you know, everything that I've been hearing, especially from you with these rookie running backs,
Right.
is that it's not exciting, which makes me, because I haven't done my evaluations, I have definitely seen some of these running backs that are going to be coming in. You know, I know Blake Corum was a big one. Donovan Edwards was a big one. Trey Benson was a big one.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards is like moved into the realm of complete irrelevancy. As crazy
You know,
as that sounds.
So, like, in the way I'm thinking about it is that these top 5 running backs, which in reality you think is Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, you think of Travis Etienne, you think of Devon, and let's just say Kenneth Walker. I don't want to trade any of those guys because of how pivotal they are to their team and how bad the running back room is and how crazy everything is getting jumbled.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I don't want to trade it. I don't want to trade him.
Honestly, like if it was Devonta Smith in the first for Bijan, I think I'd be willing to do that too. Just don't want to give up on JSN too early. But yeah, what I've been saying, and you know, I haven't had a chance to really dive in and review all 22 film. I've done my best to keep my ears open, to listen to people that I trust, to watch as many games as I can. I'm very confident there will not be a first round running back in this year's draft, in the NFL draft. At earliest, there will be a second round pick. But there's definitely no Bijan in this draft. 100% there's no Bijan.
To Braylon Allen, I know you were pretty big on him, I think like 2 years ago.
I really like Braylon Allen. I still like Braylon Allen. I think he could be a really fun player. But, you know, honestly, there's not even like a Devon Achane. Like, Devon Achane had such a particular set of skills where it was like great receiver, elite, truly elite speed. Raheem Sanders, I loved last year's film. This year, he looks like a different player. The guy put on more pounds. He doesn't look like he has the same explosiveness. TreVeyon Henderson is fine. He's definitely the RB1 so far in the class. I love Trey Benson, but he's been inconsistent. As far as Braylon Allen goes, he looks incredible when you watch college film. What I'm concerned about is how he tests, because I don't know that he gets a 4.5 40. I think it's in the 4.6s. I could be wrong. And I'm concerned that as good as he looks in college, there's a chance that how he tests either drastically improves his stock or it drastically decreases his stock. Donovan Edwards, I love the talent, but the dude looks awful this year. And it's not been a good year for him. There's a couple names that have like come out of nowhere where you're like, damn, that's a fun player to watch. Like Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. But overall, it's a disappointing class from what we thought previously. Yeah. And they still have time. They still have a lot of college football to play, and it's too early. But yeah,
and I think that is the reason why. You know, like I think if there was true talent coming in, if there was a deep running back class, you know, last year we said confidently, you have Zach Charbonnet, you have Bijan Robinson, you know, you had a plethora of like but a deeper running back room.
Yeah.
That it makes you not want to sell your running backs right now.
I get that.
So I hear you. Hopefully that helps, man. Gerald says I need 3.5 points to win tonight. Do I play Jordan Mason or Jennings? Thanks, guys.
Good Lord, dude.
Goodness.
Gerald, I have no idea. I just want to say right now, this decision has to be yours. You cannot put this decision in our hands. We can tell you what we would do, but we also have to be honest with you and say we have absolutely no idea. If it were me, I think it would be Juwan Jennings because there is no Deebo Samuel. But I could
At the
be
moment, Jawan Jennings is averaging 3.2 fantasy points per game in the last 6 games. That's what I wanted to do right there, and I'm pretty sure Jordan Mason is probably averaging less than that, just because he hasn't seen the opportunity. But yeah, I would be going Jawan Jennings as well, just because there's no Deebo Samuel. You can easily get that with one big pass, one big play, which we've seen. The yards per target, or yards per catch alone.
The concerning thing for Mason is like there's a scenario in which Mitchell and McCaffrey carry the load, and that would be really frustrating, you know. But there's also a scenario in which Jennings doesn't get targeted.
Yeah,
I have no idea, honestly.
Completely agree. So hopefully that helps. Good luck tonight, Gerald. We'll be thinking about you, man. Charlene, good evening, guys. How you doing? Jake, should I trade Michael Thomas and Waller for Higgins and Kyle Pitts?
Yeah. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yes, I want Higgins, but I still would want Waller over Pitts.
Yeah, same. Hey, finally, my love for Darren Waller. It's looking like potentially there's good things on the way for him.
I'm telling you, the better the offensive line plays, the more explosive things are going to happen, and it's only going to get better. But maybe that's just my bias because I'm a Giants fan. Who knows? TS, you guys think Purdy and Mooney will give me 14 points? Definitely. I think that's easy.
I think so, yeah.
Don't worry about it, man. No bias this week. Thank goodness. I know. It goes from apocalypse to everyone's playing, which is interesting. Weird. WG, hey gents, Badaki's birthday league question. There you go. I have CMC, Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell. Who do I start along CMC?
It's Mitchell for me, but I don't know about you.
There hasn't been a clear opportunity or a clear pathway to who's it going to be.
Yeah, there's no report out there that.
There's no report that Jordan Mason's going to be or Elijah Mitchell's going to be. I think you have to listen to key things. This is going to be a last-minute type of lineup decision, WG. You have to listen to the reporters. You have to listen to what people are saying and who's going to be starting. And, you know, no one can tell you who's going to do that. So, or who's going to be the guy. So, I will go Mason. He will go Mitchell. We'll find out who's going to be right. Ralph, I'm down 40 with Ayuk, Kittle, Madison, San Francisco kickers. Pray for me. You got this, brother. A lot of opportunity. Lazy Bones, how high y'all think y'all can sell Minshew in Superflex format? Can we get Ridley or maybe a 24-second? So in Dynasty opportunity, I think it depends. This is what I would say. I think it depends on who needs him. You know, if there's a team that's competing right now, hypothetically, and
oh yeah, absolutely. Like
I'm trying to think.
Like Baker Mayfield and Minshew feel like there's a different level of confidence in trading for them if you're win now. Like I definitely think you can get a second. I don't know that you can get it with Baker, even though that's what you would want.
Yeah, I think you have to go into those teams. I think there is an opportunity, but you have to go into those teams to see if they're willing to trade for Gardner Minshew, knowing that he's going to be the quarterback at least for this year. And, you know, how the points.
There's a chance as well, by the way, that Gardner plays himself into a bridge quarterback situation next year. Like, there's a scenario in which Gardner plays well enough where Atlanta, for example, is like, let's sign this guy for a year.
He's putting tape out there. Yeah, same thing. The Titans, if they don't have that opportunity.
Sure.
There's a lot of teams out there that can definitely be it. So, yeah, there is opportunity. Actually, thoughts on Adam Thielen and Cooper Kupp rest of the season? Adam Thielen, he's going to continue to do his thing. In my opinion, I know a lot of people are scared that he's going to get injured. But, I mean, so is everyone else. We were scared to draft CMC. And, look, he got injured, but he's playing.
Well, we weren't scared to draft CMC.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We weren't scared to draft CMC. But people were. People were saying avoid CMC because he's injury prone. My guy's still RB1. Relax.
Yeah. I have again, like I've always said with Adam Thielen, there is no science behind this or any solid data. But yeah, I'm worried about Adam Thielen getting injured. I am. But for now, you obviously ride him. Obviously, you prefer Cooper Kupp if that's the question. But I don't think Cooper Kupp is going to have many games like what he just had this week. So if you faced him this week, count your blessings, because it's not going to be like that very often.
Yeah, completely agree. Gentlemen, Cat for life, gentlemen. Do I trade Henderson and JSN or Palmer for Nico? Henderson and JSN.
or Palmer for Nico. I would do Henderson and Palmer for Nico.
Palmer for Nico. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would rather keep JSN.
If you're deep at RB.
But I honestly think that both of those guys, Jason and Palmer, are worth keeping. I think Nico does have the higher upside. But if you can't get that deal done, I'm not upset. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, would you give Josh Jacobs and Jeff Wilson to get Bijan? Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would.
I would for
Josh
sure.
Jacobs, man, we thought he should have had a bounce back game.
Yeah, it was a weird game all around for that offense, but don't worry because we got Jimmy G coming back, and Jimmy G was the reason that Josh Jacobs was leading the league in targets.
Yeah.
But anyway,
100%.
you're getting Bijan. We want Bijan.
Yeah, you're getting Bijan. Sorry, JSN was fun indeed, no doubt about it. Charlene, is there more to Bijan's story? We would never know. We have no idea. Apparently it was a headache, which I thought, and I think we were talking about it. Just pop a Advil, pop a ibuprofen.
Well,
get your ass back onto the field, my guy.
There's a scenario. Here's what's confusing about it. It's like I can absolutely respect that you weren't feeling well and you didn't feel enough to really contribute to the team. Like I get that. I don't doubt that. What's weird is like why are you on the field then? That's what's strange to me. Why are you dressed up? Why are you constantly being a distraction, a decoy rather?
Yeah, the reports is that he wanted to play and go out there, but then he kept saying, "I can't do it."
Then give him opportunities. It's either you don't give him opportunities and he doesn't play, or he's out there and he's a part of the offense. I don't really understand it. It's strange. Big M says, just got a trade done. I got Herbert and Eckler for Brees, Olave, Goff, and Judy. I have JT as my RB2 and Jamar and Cooper as my wide receivers with Jefferson on IR. So you got, I guess, Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler
for Brees,
Olave, Goff, and Judy. I got to be honest, without knowing the context, I don't really love the deal. I don't feel like Eckler is a very big upgrade over Brees.
No.
And
still want Olave.
Then I assume we're getting Justin Herbert. Even if it's Khalil Herbert, I don't love it myself because I think Olave is more valuable than both of those players in a one quarterback league. If that's super flex, then I love it. But even then, you still had Goff. Goff is a fine starter.
Yeah, Goff is a fine start. QB7 on the year. Justin Herbert, QB6 on the year. Obviously,
Herbert's had his bye.
Yeah, and Herbert had his bye. So I think it's just... I agree. I'm not in love with the trade.
Yeah, but maybe we're missing some context. But again, we just want to be honest. Sorry. Duck fan, what's up? Up 55 in PPR, and they have Ayuk and Hawkinson. Do I win? I would say you're favored to win for sure. Now, anything can happen. Is Ayuk capable of a 30-point game? Yes. Is Hawkinson capable of a tied in 1 week? Yes. Is it more likely that they don't do that? Yes. Do we hate hypothetical questions and then answering them ourselves? I hate when people do that. Yes. Sorry that I did it.
Yes, all the way around. What does Mike Pittman and Halloween have in common? Both are scary. He loves to see it.
It's true.
AC, after going 7-0 for 2 straight weeks, I struggled in week 7. Who are the top waiver wire pickups? Well, AC, fantastic for you. Does Zach release a waiver wire video earlier today for you? And if you haven't watched it, please go to our YouTube channel after this live stream and go watch that video. Because that gives you 10 plus waiver wire pickups that you should be adding to your team this week.
Yep.
Hopefully that helps. Wando was a bust yet. It was unfortunate.
Yeah, it didn't really make much sense either. But
I think it was just game script.
Yeah.
Just game script. They kind of were playing great defensive, and it was weird. It was
very strange. 2 targets after not having less than 5 the entire year is really weird.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's all just game script based. Personally, they got the run game going. They were going with Waller. Our defense was playing.
Yeah.
So
Hawkinson or Addison tonight. If you want
Need big
honesty,
points.
who in the world knows who scores more points? If you want genuine honesty, who would I rather have in my lineup? I think I'd rather have Hawkinson.
I'll tell you this. San Francisco 49ers currently give up the third least amount of points to the tight end position. Hopefully that can help you make your
How about wide receivers?
decision. At the wide receiver position, the San Francisco 49ers currently give up the 26. So what's that? 6'4", 5'6".
Right.
What's that? The seventh least amount of points to the wide receiver position. So you either going with the seventh least or the third least. So you kind of choose your poison there. Both of them have tough matchups.
Yeah.
I would say this. I think I'm going Jordan Addison because he's found the end zone.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his stats. Scored a touchdown in the last 4 out of 6 games he has played.
Yeah.
And TJ Hawkinson has only found the end zone technically twice in one game against Philly. So,
Yeah.
Jordan Addison.
All right.
I hear.
I think Jordan Addison makes sense there. It's
Hopefully
tough.
that helps.
Isaiah, what do you do with Rashawn now that Foreman broke out? Drop him for a Rams running back or hold? I still think that Rashawn Johnson will have his chance to take over the backfield. However, it does look like Foreman will have a role. It doesn't look like he's going to disappear.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I said yesterday as well.
What I will say is,
Or
if
2
I
days
can
ago.
grab Darrell Henderson, I definitely would drop Rashawn Johnson if that's what I need to do.
Yeah, and I was saying this: if Foreman goes off, not good. I mean, he's the RB1 this week.
Yeah.
It's just not good for Rashawn, and I don't see how they take away opportunity away from Foreman after that performance.
Would
We'll
it
wait and
shock
see.
you at all if Foreman scores under 10 points in the next 3 weeks every week?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. But by that time, Khalil Herbert is essentially back,
Yeah.
and then Roscoe is going to get the opportunity, and then it's like a 3-headed monster, and
Yeah.
we're saying, who the hell should you start?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's tough. There's a rumor King Henry might be traded. It's certainly possible. It makes sense. They sent away Byard.
it's going to be a big week.
I'm not so certain that a team like with as much respect to him as possible wants to trade for him. I could be wrong. Shane says, would you trade Achane and Brian Robinson for Gibbs and Devonta Smith? My running backs are Ken Walker, Kyron Williams. I would rather have Achane and Brian Robinson there.
I don't think that this is the long-term play. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
Like,
You want
you're
Achane
trading-
long term, right?
Yeah, you want HN long-term, and then you're trading for Gibbs, who's really going to have two weeks of opportunity. Monty comes back, and you're like, well, I should have kept HN. You know? That's kind of how I'm seeing it.
He says he's 4-3. I think you can fight your way to being 500 until Achane's back potentially. I don't know. It's not enough for me personally, but just a man's opinion. We did just get a super chat. Let's get to that straight away. It's from Duck Fan. He says, "My bad, guys. On a hypothetical question on my matchup, do you think you would rather have Pierce or Singletary? Do you think they will cancel each other out?" I think that's the most likely scenario. They cancel each other out. If I had to choose one to roster for the rest of the year right now, it would be Dameon Pierce. However, would it surprise me at all, which is why Devin Singletary has been a huge stash name for me, would it surprise me at all if he takes over the backfield this week? No, it would not surprise me. So I don't think you should have confidence in any of these guys. I'd rather have Dameon. However, I could very easily see a pathway in which Devin Singletary is the lead running back next week.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they, I don't think they go away with the Dameon Pierce. I think they realize their offense is better, and the way they operate, they don't need a first and second down pound guy. They're just going to do what's best for them. And if this offense continues to drive the ball down the field, Dameon Pierce can be a Jamal Williams type of guy. You know, he can be just a touchdown guy, even though we haven't seen that. I think only once he scored. If they
Yeah,
continue to be consistent, then hopefully he can find the end zone, because I think that's where we're lacking, is the end zone opportunities for Damian
maybe.
Pierce. But
I'll
we'll
say
wait and
this:
see.
if Damian doesn't do it versus the Panthers, he's not gonna do it this year. Like the Panthers
Yeah.
is the prime matchup to be like, all right, we're gonna feature Damian. If Damian's not featured this week versus the Panthers, it's officially time, I think, to absolutely panic, if not already.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gerald. We just want to be as honest as possible, man. Hopefully, you appreciate the transparency. Jackson says was offered to trade away CMC. I don't want to know the rest of it. You don't trade away CMC.
I don't want to know the rest of it.
What is the rest of it? Gibbs, Puka, Rashad White. No, absolutely
No.
not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Um,
Not ideal.
Tim says, y'all, my boys, appreciate that. He says, I dropped Cowboys defense and picked up the Browns. Should I keep the Browns or get the boys off waivers? This will all come down to matchups every week.
Every single week. I mean,
The Cowboys play the Rams this week, and the Browns play the Seahawks.
they both have tough matchups, to be honest. Both of these teams can score. Seahawks can score,
Yeah.
so can the Rams.
I'd rather
I'm
play
gonna-
the Cowboys this week, but it's close.
I'm gonna go the Browns, just purely because sacks. I know that's good. That's going to be
We got-
consistent.
You got Parsons on the other side there, but I hear you.
Parsons. What do you mean?
Micah Parsons on the other side. I mean, that's no joke
Oh
either.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah. Sure. 100%.
what I will say is, if you only have to roster one, keep in mind that the Browns play the Cardinals in Week 9. Whereas the Cowboys play the Eagles, so that's more of like a 2-week play.
Yeah, I hear you.
Miguel says, actually not a joke. Pick 2, Flowers versus Arizona, Hopkins versus San Francisco, or Rice versus Denver. This would be Flowers for me.
Yeah, we have to pick 2. Flowers.
Oh.
I want Flowers and Rice.
My bad. Yeah, Flowers and Rice.
Yep.
Which is funny because I feel like I'm making a shopping list or something.
But
yeah.
some Rice.
Flowers and Rice. It wouldn't be Hopkins. I think there are 40 wide receivers I'd rather play than Hopkins this week
Completely
against the Niners with Malik Willis as his quarterback. That sounds like hell. Akshay says trade JT and Downs/Rice for Bijan. I would be willing to part with JT and Downs if Downs is gonna be on your bench and you're not considering starting him.
Yeah.
But if he's like someone you're relying on in your lineup, then no. So yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's do a quick fire here. We only have a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'll only be live for the next couple minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, should I trade Jacobs for Etienne rest of the season? I would rather have Etienne personally.
Same.
Should I panic on Bijan? No, I think we spoke about that. I think he's a buy low personally.
Yep.
AC on my band. I definitely checked. Okay. Jason, if you're looking at the replay on Travis Kelce's touchdown on the line yesterday, the defensive guy bear hugged him.
I mean,
I mean,
I don't imagine, Jason, that any defender is purposely trying to let the other team score, but
yeah.
and it's not like the Chargers were gonna have time if they scored. You know, like
exactly
it was
to
there was
do
like what
anything else.
6 seconds left in the half or something.
Yeah.
I don't think it was purposeful, but I could be wrong.
That's funny. Trade Hall and Osborne for Diggs. Brees Hall and Osborne. I think I'm okay to do this depending on what your running back.
Yeah, you got to have a stacked
room
running
looks
back
like.
room to stomach that.
Yeah. Miguel somehow about to go 3-4 in my 12 team with this team. Okay, what's the question? Any positional upgrades? So we don't do team reviews, Miguel. So sorry about that. Obviously, we're trying to get through this. So definitely
We appreciate you, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hopefully you understand. We did just get a
Jason-
super chat from Tim.
Oh,
Last questions, Waller or Schultz rest of the year? I'm going Waller.
yep, going Waller as well.
Appreciate your donation, though, man. Very
Thank
kind
you
of
so much, Tim. We appreciate you. Do you think Giants will stick with Tyrod? As a Giants fan, no, I don't think so. And will Waller be a baller the rest of the season? I think he definitely can. You saw the way he could be utilized for the first time when the offensive line is healthy.
Yeah.
So
I would say if you own Waller, you prefer Tyrod at this point, but I don't think it's going to be Tyrod when Jones is ready to go.
Yeah,
Thoughts on
so-
AJ Dillon? Not someone I'm excited about still.
absolutely not. No, thank
Lennon
you.
says, who are you starting in second flex, Saquon or Thielen? 10-team PPR. Running backs are Pollard, Brees. Wide receivers are Kupp, Puka, and Keenan. Who do you guys play this week?
We play the Jets.
Um,
And then Allen Thielen, I think they
Houston.
play. Okay.
Saquon.
Yeah, you go Saquon, but Thielen, how do you sit him?
Yeah, that's tough.
But it is very tough. It sounds like an
Last
eight-man
question
league.
of the day says, I'm looking to trade for Bijan. I have Jefferson, Josh Jacobs, Stevenson, DJ Moore, Sutton. Any trade packages? I mean, the first thing that I would try is Ramondre Stevenson and let's say Tyler Lockett, or Ramondre Stevenson and Brian Robinson. That would be my first try. He might make you include Jacobs, and I don't think you should do that just because Jacobs, his usage is through the roof still. But yeah, I mean, can I package Sutton in Stevenson? Because I do that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Badaki would agree. Last question is a donation from Gator. Thank you guys for the stream
Appreciate you.
today. Thanks for the donation, Gator. Says start 2 of 5. Damian Pierce, Sanders, Hubbard, Dell, Rashawn. This would be Dell for me, and then holy shit, what do you do with the rest? Probably Damian Pierce in that
Yeah,
matchup.
he has the best matchup there. Sanders, they're essentially go against each other. What is it? Texans versus Panthers? You said?
It is
Yeah, Texans versus Panthers.
Yeah.
So it's Pierce, and then Dell for me. That's what I would
That's it for today, guys. We appreciate you. If you're curious about waivers, I dropped a video on the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow. All love. Hopefully you win tonight in your matchup. Appreciate you.
love.